So Jenna, what does art mean to you?
Everything, literally. It's what I do, but it's more than what I do. I think it's everything I love and everything I think about all day, every day. It's more than just a day job. I don't know, I look at textures, I look at colors, I feel like I look at things differently, like it's a lens that I constantly keep on, because it's everywhere. And I just try to find that in everything, and I make sure to put it in the forefront of everything I'm doing and always stay in tune with it, because it means that much to me, for sure.
Awesome. What inspires you artistically?
Music for sure, obviously, the gallery. Music makes you feel a certain way, and I think there's some connection there between art and music. A nice, I don't know, something really moving that happens when you combine the two. So I think music for sure, other artists, and it's street art or fine art, either way. I think just I'm constantly feeding myself with artwork I find online or I find on the streets to keep it fresh and just to keep constant creative thoughts going. I think it's really important to do as an artist.
So with that being said, who's your favorite musician that you have?
Oh man, Erykah Badu, no doubt. I love Erykah Badu musically, and then I think she's just a really interesting person, very interesting looking person as well. That was the first piece I ever did in the paper collage style, and I did that out of my love for her. It wasn't something somebody commissioned or asked me to see, so she means a lot to me, and I think that's why I did her so big. First one, priced her high. Erykah Badu means a lot to me, for sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say, so do you have like a top 5 of artists that you've done?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I think, and I'm sure if you go through my playlist, you can see that. Like, there's a lot of Erykah Badu, there's a lot of Beyonce, a lot of strong women, for sure. I think that's really important to represent for the girls. A lot of Rihanna. But then I love where I touched on some of the old rock and roll, like Nirvana and Pink Floyd, because that's a part of me too. Queen, I'm a huge Freddie Mercury fan. Like, these are people, these are groups that I genuinely love, and I think that's what inspired all of this artwork, and really the entire show was just embracing all the different music that I have fallen in love with and expressing that through art. Yeah.
So how old were you when you started to get into art, or when you did your first piece?
Oh man, I mean, I've always been creative. My mom has stuff framed from like 2nd grade. I mean, I'm talking about like I've always done art. My dad's artistic. He would kind of channel that with me. My parents were really great about putting me in art classes young. So I mean, it's from jump. I've always been a creative kid. And then when I got to the college level, and I did really well in class, I knew it was a certain calling, a certain talent I had. Because it's not something I work really hard for. It's something that just flows naturally. So it's right. I just know it's right. It's what I should be doing. So that's what I'm doing.
So piggybacking off of that, when did you know that you really wanted to pursue art fully?
Definitely in college. That was kind of where I could gauge where my talent stood in the crowd, you know. Because you're constantly comparing yourself. Am I good enough? Am I as good as the next person? So I think once I got into art school and made it in through the admission process, and then noticing that I had the skills to do this. I mean, it was at that level where I realized I could probably make a living off of this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank God. Any
memorable experiences that influenced you along the way?
Oh man, I mean, art has been constant in my life. So there's numerous experiences. I mean, really. There was a period in my life where I wasn't creating a lot of art, and it was a very, kind of a dark, dull point in my life, and then Instagram came around, and I had a huge surge. All of a sudden people wanted to see my art. I could share it with thousands and hundreds of people. So definitely when Instagram became a thing, I know it's like 10 years ago, but when Instagram became a thing, that's when I really took off, and I took it serious, and I found an audience, and I found an outlet to share my art, and I started taking it serious about that point. And that was around when I started college too. So it's all around that point when I was like, this is what I want to do, and I focused on it. Yeah.
Definitely. Who is your favorite artist besides yourself?
Oh man, that's easy. He's always been my favorite. I think since I learned about him in college, Basquiat, Jean-Michel Basquiat. And I'm not even a painter, even though that's what he does, but it's the way he creative process that he would follow and almost not follow. He broke a lot of rules and he created art for himself and for his passion and spreading messages and just, I don't know, taking a place in the community. He's got a fascinating story of how he lived and created art and brought street art into the gallery space, and I love that contrast. He's a very inspiring person overall. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your intentions with your art? What do you look to do with it besides?
Oh man, keep creating new stuff. I want to explore new mediums. Paper was a new one for me, and now I'm getting into resin. I've done marker. I mean, I just want to keep exploring different mediums and pushing myself artistically as an artist, and really just challenging myself and continuing to grow and just explore. Never gonna stop. Never gonna stop. I mean, in my day job I design, so that's always gonna be constant, but it's art like this where I just want to keep pushing myself and just see what I can come up with and share it with people and see how they feel. That's what I ultimately love to do.
Awesome. So what would you say your creative process is? Like, how do you go about starting on a piece, whether it be paper, whether it be marker, whether it be, how do you get yourself in that zone?
Usually something's really got to inspire me for that. It'll be a song or it'll be a piece of art. I mean, it could be a logo, it could be anything, any small thing. Once I get some type of inspiration, it'll spark it. And I mean, I don't know, I just kind of organically just let things build and flow. That's how all these paper collages came about. I stumbled across this beautiful box of paper and I just wanted to do something with it. So I just did something, you know, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so having somebody else coming up, like, who wants to get into art and do what you do, what kind of advice would you give them?
Oh, to say yes to any opportunity. Network. It's a lot in the art community, especially here in Louisville. It's who you know. You want to get into these gallery spaces and into the community where people are sharing your name. I think that's really important. And then as an artist, just keep exploring. Try not to compare yourself to other people, not too harshly anyways, but to just keep going. You know, I think a lot of artists, we struggle with not finishing work or not feeling worthy of the attention or of the gallery. And I think just letting that go and just be as pure of an artist as you can and let things flow out. Just let everything be. That's the best way to go.
Okay. And so, last but not least, what are your goals with your art? Like,
ultimately, I mean, I think I'd like to keep, this was my first gallery experience, so I think I'd like to keep on this track where I'm making a collection of work that really embodies, in this case, music and how I feel and how it affects me. I like to continue to explore things like that and share it with people and share it with the public. I was really nervous about that at first because I've never done a gallery showing. But just seeing how everybody came together and how everybody reacted to it and just how well it's doing, that's inspiring. So I just want to continue to share my art on a more public level and be more open and personal with it. I think that's the ultimate goal, just keep going, yeah.
And so where can we find your art? Like, if someone wanted to purchase a piece, like where can they find it?
Well, right now we've got Paper Cuts. It's a showing here at Revelry Gallery in Nulu. But then you can also find me at Jenna_art on Instagram. Contact me there. I'm pretty regular updating on things I'm doing and projects in the works. Yeah, it's probably the best two places to actually see some of my art, get in touch with me, anything like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jenna, for your time.
Great.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.